Hey everybody, I'm going to keep this pretty brief. This is my thoughts after watching the first two episodes of Ahsoka. They're out now. It is after midnight. I'm in a hotel. This isn't the usual on-program digs, as you can very much see. The hotel I'm staying at was kind enough to have this abstract, brightly colored backdrop, and so I've jerry-rigged something here. Hopefully it works. Obviously it's not what you're accustomed to, but I just really didn't want to wait to get this out. So what I'm going to do first is just give my initial reaction. I'm going to keep it spoiler-free, and then I'll make a whole bunch of visual indications, and then of course say it, and I'll get into the spoiler section. So first things first, Dave Filoni. It's so exciting to get to see this. Get to see the culmination of all the years of work that he's put in, and that George Lucas has put in creating this character, being Ahsoka, and then of course Filoni with all the litany of others. Getting to see it all culminate in live action is very, very cool. The other thing I would say that's spoiler free is just as by way of review. People often talk about what is and is not Star Wars, what makes something Star Wars. And I've been one to say over and over and over that I don't know. Nothing is or is not Star Wars. Nothing is sacred. Star Wars can be anything. But man, this feels like Star Wars to me. Yeah, it wasn't perfect. It was campy at times. Well, not campy. It was very. It's building to something. They're setting things up. It might have been a little dialogue heavy, a little lore heavy. It won't be maybe as accessible to the uninitiated, and it's trying to bring you up to speed. I get all of that, but for somebody who's been here, for those of you who watched Rebels, for those of you who have maybe read a book here and there, fans of the Legends continuity, and know a little bit about where we may be going, Filoni is someone who did a great job, who has the knowledge, right? He works with the story group. He is the story group in a lot of ways. So he was able to masterfully tie all these things together. A lot of these threads that make sense. It very much was, from a lore perspective, everything I've been waiting for, and I can't wait for it to continue. It gave me a delicious amount of questions that I need answered, but it also set up those things in a context where it could justifiably make sense, as opposed to some other context, maybe in the sequel trilogy, where things are just thrown out to be interesting. You can tell they did the Mission Impossible method of coming up with an action sequence or coming up with an endpoint and then writing the story backwards. Here, it seemed to fit a lot more organically within established canon or Legends continuity and other things like that. Okay, that's about all I can say, spoiler free. Let me get a few more things out of the way. Action sequences, when they happened, were awesome. The characters that were introduced in the trailers all had things to do, especially the main ones. Ray Stevenson's character, Balin, had some really cool stuff. I really like those characters. I can't wait to see more of what happens with them. David Tennant, Hu Yang, very awesome. Just so much, but again, I want to get into spoilers, so this is your warning. Go watch the show. You're watching a Star Wars podcast. You're going to watch the show. All right, come back. Here we go. Spoilers. All right. So much. I didn't get my Thrawn. This time. They're still going to make me wait. I'm fine with that. I said that on the show. I wouldn't mind waiting. Even if Thrawn is the Thanos and he comes out at the end of this show, I can live with that. I'll be all right. But I was waiting the whole time. They got some name drops. That's really cool. All right, let's work through Ahsoka. So great to see her getting to do some really cool action sequences. On the initial planet with the ruins. We saw a lot of that in the trailer. I won't belabor the point, but the fight scenes with the HK droids were amazing. That was really cool. The fact that they're called HK droids, I know it was established before, but that's exciting for me, being the KOTOR head. What else? God, so much fun to see the Inquisitor. I don't know anything about that individual. I can't wait to find out. They just acted as if it was commonplace. Ahsoka didn't say, "Oh my gosh, another Inquisitor? Where have you been?" So I'm dying to know the lore answers to a lot of these things. Marok was their name. I don't know the gender. Very curious to see what's up with that. Baylan and Shin, fascinating, very cool. They cut down so many New Republic soldiers. Just very, very fascinating. Baylan at least was a Jedi, so very curious to see his story. Expertly set up. I have no notes. I'm very excited, but I also I'm not frustrated with the fact that they exist. Corellia, seeing this is in the second episode, but seeing Corellia, getting to see the rot of bureaucracy and the Imperial loyalists, and how they've worked in there. It's very characteristic for Star Wars and what we've come to expect. The New Republic is doing their best, but they're very inept. They're not very effective. Their ideals are seemingly allowing for a lot of rot to sneak its way in. We've seen it in The Mandalorian. We've seen it in some of the books. It's very much prevalent. When we read a book that's sympathetic, like a Lost Stars or an Alphabet Squadron, to some of these Imperials, and we get to see their treatment, we get excited because we're sympathetic to that character and we know their frame of mind. But you also see how that sort of amnesty would allow for a lot of bad actors to work their way through. And for those of you who have read the Thrawn trilogy, you know that that could play in. That could play in with a lot of what happened in Legends. So very excited to see how that develops. Morgan Elsbeth has a lot to do in this show. She was the one who was mentioned in the Ahsoka show. She was the one who fought the Mandalorian and Ahsoka on that planet, and she has a ton to do here. She was broken out. Come to find out, some people had theorized this, that she was a Night Sister, or at least descended from. So that was really exciting to see, the different types of Force users, coming back around. And then, of course, this whole, the goober, to steal from Amazing Spider-Man or Into the Spider-Verse, the goober for this show is a star map. I've got my star map shirt on. Fascinating stuff, because they're going outside the galaxy. People were talking the whole time, is it world between worlds, yada yada yada. This is so much better. This is so much better. I love this. You've got so many possibilities open up. Thrawn's from the unknown regions. That's already called the chaos. You've got so much foreign going on there, but that's not good enough. We're going to go to another galaxy. Who knows what's out there? Anything is on the table. It all makes sense. I love it. Get weird, Star Wars. Make it happen. It's awesome. I'm so excited. The dynamic between Sabine and Ahsoka was, I will admit, a little tiresome, because this all happened off screen. It's interesting because it put me in the perspective of people who haven't seen Rebels, right? I'd seen Rebels. I knew everything up to that point. And now you're expositing things that happened off screen. They're, I guess, falling out that must have happened at some point. She tried to train Sabine, and clearly things didn't work out, and we'll have to wait and see what that was. But yeah, fascinating. I was kind of having a laugh, because I'm like, I wish I knew what was happening. And I was like, well, people are probably wondering who any of these people are, right? Hera Syndulla, I really enjoyed. I loved seeing her in live action. Chopper was great. I know people made some noise about her contacts, or I don't even know what people complain about anymore. Yeah, there's always things to note, but I loved it. I loved seeing her. I loved seeing aliens in Star Wars. I loved seeing female characters front and center. Star Wars finally passed the Bechdel test. I don't know if it had before, but it hit it out of the park with this one. If you don't know what the Bechdel test is, ask your girlfriend. It's just, God, it's so cool to see Star Wars moving in that direction, in a good direction, and in a believable and non-preachy way. Stellar. I love it. I cannot wait for more. Absolutely just so excited. Of course, like I said, I didn't get my Thrawn. Can't wait for that. One more thing I want to say. We talk a lot on the show. Michael makes a lot of jokes, Michael B., about how nobody dies from stab wounds anymore. You got more fuel on that fire, buddy. Absolutely. There's so much more that I'm sure I have to say. Like I said, I'm extremely tired. It's late. This is all off the top. So forgive me for not knowing the planets and this, that, and the other. We're going to break it all down. We're going to get everybody, 5 people, haven't decided who yet, haven't figured it out. But we're going to be doing it Friday night, Eastern time, probably around 8:30 or 9. If you want to be there, please be there. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. This will probably go a long time. There's a lot to discuss, and I can't wait to do it with each and every one of you on program. We'll see you then.